Hello, and here's our last video of lockdown. Okay, so we're looking at what the different parts of a decimal number actually are worth today. Okay, their place value, if you like. So we look at part A, and we look at, for example, number 1. So if I take a number like number 1, so let's try the pen, shall we? Right, so if I say 31.08, okay. So if you set yourself up with a tens, units, tenths, and hundredths along the top. So we think, right, what's the 8 worth? Well, it's in the hundredths, so it's straightforward. Let's just work 8 over 100, 8 hundredths. If we take a number then where the 8 is somewhere else, so if we had 46.82, so here's your 8. So actually in the tenths, so what you've got there then is 8 tenths. Okay, now then, if we took another, then let's have a little look here. Let's put the 8 here. So if I put down 28.46, again the question is, what is the 8 worth? Well, now it's in the units, it's just worth 8 units. On the final place, you'll find the 8 will be in the front of the number. So here's your 8. What's that worth? Well, if we look up, it's in the tens, so it's actually worth 80. Okay, 80 units. If you want to 8 tens, okay, your choice. Now then, let's look at part B now. Okay, so part B. If we bring down our question, just give us a bit of space to work. There we are. Okay, it says how many hundredths are in each of these. Okay, a bit sneaky. There's 3 types of question here. So you've got a number to start with where you might just find you've only got 1 digit that's not a 0. Okay, so you've got then units, tenths, hundredths. If you've got something like this, it's very straightforward, very easy. How many hundredths? You've got 4. There's only 4 in the hundredths column. Okay, right. It gets more interesting when you start to get numbers where you've got 2 digits in your number that are not 0. Now in this case, some of you might get a bit confused and say, well, how many hundredths have you got? 8. That's not quite right, because you've got 2 tenths here as well, and every 1 tenth is worth 10 hundredths. Okay, so 1 tenth is equal to 10 hundredths. So hundredths, okay? So that would mean that you've got this. Which means that here, your 2 tenths, which is my colour, there, is actually 20 hundredths, and your 8, you've actually got here 28 over 100, okay? The third type, which would over on the left hand side here, is where you've got 3 digits that are not 0. So let's say you've got 6.47. Okay, so if we just remind ourselves, so that's units, that's tenths, this is hundredths. So what have we got so far? Well, we've got 7 hundredths here, so we can just write that down ready. Now, if you remember, 4 tenths, well, that's 4 times 10, so that's 40 hundredths. And something a little new now. When you've got anything in the units, 1 unit is 100 hundredths, okay? So 6 units will be 600 hundredths. So you've actually got that. If we just bring our board up a little, so you've got 600 at 40 at 7. 600 at 47 over 100 hundredths. Okay, so be careful with those. Now then, let's have a look at the last part of this sheet. For some of you, we go on to this. Let's drag this down and get a bit of fresh board to work on. Okay, don't know why that's come with me. We'll just put that in the bin. Right, okay. This one says write these as decimals. Now, if we have a look at these, we've got a series of mixed numbers where we've got some tens and units, and our fraction is in the hundredths. So these are quite straightforward. So if we write down tens, units, tenths, hundredths, ready, put a decimal point in ready. Okay, let's take one similar to number 1. So let's say I had 6 and 18 over 100. So straightforward, 6 units, 18 hundredths, well, there's the 8, there's the 1, 6.18. If we had something, for instance, like number 4, we've got 14 and 32 over 100. So let's say I got 15 and I had 27 over 100. Okay, again, quite straightforward. Decimal point ready. That gives me 15.27. So 15 whole ones, 27 over 100, 27. Okay, 2 tenths. Okay, that's going to be 20 hundredths and then the 7 hundredths. Okay, well, that might cause you a little bit of difficulty would be something like number 8. So let's have a little look at that. So I make one up. So 39 and 4 hundredths, I'll say. Okay, let's just get rid of this for the minute so we can have a bit of space to work. That doesn't want to go, does it? Okay, don't worry about that then. Right, so let's get a pen again. Let's put a decimal point in. 39 and 4 hundredths. There's your 39, 4 hundredths. Okay, job done. No, don't forget, when we look at decimals, you're not allowed to leave empty spaces after a decimal point. It's going to be filled with a 0. So your 39 and 4 hundredths is 39.04. Watch out for the naught bit, okay? Okay, have a go at those, and hopefully we'll all be back in school next week.